Some can run fast, some throw a thing, some put stuff in holes. But can they sing? Some play with balls, some row a boat. But tell me this, can they hold a note? They might be good at their sport, but are their songs something you'll support? It's up to you to tell us if they lift the cup. Oh, shut up. Time to decide if they're pitch perfect.
That amazing theme tune means it's time for our favourite new and old segment of the show, Pitch Perfect, where we celebrate a sports star who's made a swing into music. We're sticking with the football theme the week before we had Eric Cantona. This week it is one of my favourite footballers. It's Righty himself, Ian Wright. Tell me about him, Paul.
Ian Edward Wright. He was born the 3rd of November 1963. It was a Sunday.
Am I going to cry?
Maybe. In Woolwich, London. He was born to Jamaican parents, but his father was absent from a young age. Now, alongside his older brother, they would play football on the estate and down the local park, and that was everything to them.
Yeah.
And Wright was cajoled by his older brother, but into getting better at every part of his game. His brother, they were like quite cheeky wee guys, quite cocksure. They were like, I'm good at this, and his brother was like, well, I'm better at that. That forced him. He's like, I said I would go and practice with a tennis ball.
But competition breeds greatness.
Yeah, I'd learn how to header the ball like 600 times in a row just to be able to beat
my
his
brother. Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, right, wee bit of a trigger warning here, but Wright's stepfather was a cruel man, right? It was a rough household. And he would bully the youngster, including being so cruel that sometimes when Match of the Day came on, depending on his mood, Match of the Day was one of the few things that Ian Wright looked forward to. He would make him and his brother stand and stare at the wall the whole time the programme was on.
That's mad abusive, and that's really sad.
Yeah. And he said,
and it makes me so glad that he got to be on Match of the Day.
We'll get to that. That gets
Paul.
good. The pent-up anger had to go somewhere, though, and it was on the football field, with Ian Wright being particularly fiery during those playground matches and into the Sunday morning football games he would start playing against pub teams as a teen. Before that, though, school as a youth was hard. Ian Wright said that he could barely read or write at the age of 8. He had absolutely no attention span. And one day, after having been sent out of class once again for carrying on, he was found by one of the teachers, a Mr. Sidney Pigden. That was a common occurrence. He would run into him in the corridor and they'd be like, oh, you here again, right? But this day, that was different. Wright recalled, he said he felt that day that Mr. Pigden looked at him and he says, no, he saw the real me that day. He saw something. So the teacher went into the classroom. He came out 10 minutes later and he said, come with me. And from that day, Mr. Pigden took Ian Wright under his wing, taught him how to read, how to write, taught him to be patient, to be confident, to be a proper man, polite. Wright said that was the first man who ever showed him any kind of love.
I think that you look at those stories, like I know that when my mum was a wee girl and didn't have shoes or a coat, there was a teacher who just went, nah, bought her a coat,
And
bought
you
her
have
shoes
to.
and looked after her. And how important those teachers are in people's lives. I'm literally lived to tears.
There's a wonderful video. If we jump ahead a bit, there's a wonderful video from the 2005 BBC documentary.
Yeah.
And it's
And
Ian
it's important
Wright.
to note that Ian Wright was back there because he was building playgrounds for children who were underprivileged in his
It was a
area.
BBC show. It was called With a Little Help from My Friends. And Wright is there. He's at Arsenal Stadium. And after not seeing each other in over 20 years, Mr. Pigden shows up. And Ian Wright looks round as if he's seen a ghost. And he just says, someone told me you were dead. And he bursts into tears. And he just hugs him. And it's that hug that you just like... It's proper.
It's so magical.
Yeah, it's get me.
Right, we need to stop crying.
But going back, before all of that, Ian Wright, still a bit of a troubled teen, getting into fights. He was a bit of a football hooligan. He would go to Millwall games at home and away. That was quite a rough crowd to run with. And he says the only reason he stayed out of jail was due to the people who ran the local non-league club called Tenenby. They would pick him up straight from the door, take him to training, take him to games 3 times a week, just to keep him on the straight and narrow.
And back in those days, those programs were so important. Those little community, like Calton Athletic, when I was a wee girl, helped like my cousins and stuff who
Yeah.
had drug addiction, took them to football. That became their focus. That became their life. Those things were so important.
Stay away from that and come to this.
Uh-huh.
He would have numerous trials at football clubs from the age of 11, but he was constantly rejected. All the Arsenals, the Chelseas, all the London clubs, no. Until he got a 6-week trial at Brighton, and he had to scrape and beg to get enough to go and take his big chance.
Oh, thank God he did. Oh no.
He felt he'd done well, but he was once again rejected, and he didn't even have enough money to get home. He went to the office. Somebody told him, you can claim expenses to get the train home. He went to the office. They says, wait there. And they left him there for 5 hours. He says he never felt so helpless in his life until one of the players came and said, this is outrageous, we'll get that boy sorted out. And they gave him his money to get home. But that was it. He'd not made the team. Another failure. And then to top it off, Wright ended up in prison for 2 weeks for non-payment of driving fines. It's like driving without insurance. So he's 19.
He's set up to fail, though. That's when you're already poor and you can't afford the things, but you need a job to afford the things to pay for the car, and then you have to go to prison because you couldn't afford to pay for the things to have the car, to go to the job to make the money to pay for the car.
But it was then, he says, he knew that he had to make a change. And that meant giving up the dream of a football career and getting a real job.
No, right.
So now, with a young family to support, he'd adopted Sean Bradley, right, who became a football player in and of himself.
He adopted a baby.
Yeah, at the age of 19, he adopted a baby with the woman that he got with, and
What
he
a
had his own
beautiful
son,
man.
Bradley. And then, so he had a young family to support. He worked as a bricklayer, a plasterer, and then he did maintenance in a sugar refinery. He says it wasn't the best, but he was happy.
And he was making money and he was looking after his family.
He even played a bit of football on the side. He played with a Sunday league team called Greenwich Borough, just to get out of the house at weekends, but he was making money, good money, and he was happy. Then, from the Sunday league games, a scout from Crystal Palace came a-calling, and he knocked him back. Not once, not twice, 3 times. He didn't want to be rejected again, but he also didn't possibly want to lose his job. He's like, I've just got out of the jail, I've got a criminal record, I've got a good job here. What if somebody else turns round and I can't get a job like this again?
Yeah.
But it was friends, the guy who used to coach him at Tenenby, and his supervisor at his work, they basically persuaded him to take the opportunity, and his supervisor made up a lie for him to get 2 weeks off on the sick to go do the trial. Now, he's not played proper level football in a while. He's not match fit. And Wright thought he'd blown it because he was absolutely gassed, huffing and puffing within 10 minutes of training games. But he was asked by the manager to turn up for a closed doors game the next day with the first team against Coventry. Wright turned up to the stadium early, super keen to impress, only to find out he'd gone to the Crystal Palace athletics track, which was 2 miles down the road. He'd went there by mistake.
And I know this from experience. There is nothing worse.
No, and with the kick-off less than 20 minutes away,
Oh, poor Righty.
he's like, if I walked it, I was missing the kick-off. He sprinted there. Got there, and the manager saw him and went, what's with you? He was dripping with sweat before he even got there.
Yeah.
But played the game, and he got a 3-month trial contract, and was now at the age of 22, after multiple rejections since the age of 11, going to prison, having to get a real job. He was now a professional footballer.
Yeah. And he's been troubled. He's done bad things. Like, he's talked about that himself. Like, I know we talk about how he had the hardship in his youth, but you also talk about how he was, like, doing casually things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bad boy.
Like hooligan. I mean,
hooliganism.
yeah.
I think it was
very rife at the time.
But to turn yourself around from that, to go, I'm going to stop being a baddie and be a goodie, is a really simplistic way of putting it. Against all odds is magic.
3 months turned into being the second top scorer for the team in his first season.
Right.
He became the record post-war goal scorer, and he was named years later as their player of the century. Then in September 91, he signed for London club Arsenal, for which was for them a then club record fee. He was the club's top scorer for 6 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
He was their second highest goal scorer ever.
Yep.
And he's considered one of the greatest ever Arsenal players to put on that shirt.
Didn't get to play for England as much as he should have, though.
No, he managed 33 appearances though.
But he should have had more.
Yeah, but when he first pulled on that shirt, his old teacher, Mr. Pigden, who, right, and here's the thing, that Mr. Pigden was at one time the youngest RAF pilot in the war, and he flew over Buckingham Palace when they won the Second World War. He said that despite all that stuff that he had done, seeing Ian Wright play for England was the proudest moment in his life.
No. Why are you doing this to
So after Arsenal, he had short spells at a number of clubs, including West Ham and Celtic, amongst others.
What?
Yeah, he played for Celtic 8 games.
I didn't know that.
But Wright retired, and then he became, after that, a television personality. He had 2 series of his own chat show. It was called Friday Nights All Right.
Amazing.
He hosted the 2008 version of Gladiators when they tried to bring it back that time.
It was bad, but not because of him.
And he even had a live daily show. It was like an evening magazine show on Channel 5.
Amazing. I think, and you know I have such strong opinions on punditry and people who become pundits, who's good, who's bad, who's awful. For me, Ian Wright is top-notch punditry.
Yeah.
I really enjoy him, but I also think it's really amazing how he talks about, he's not said it out loud, but he does talk about, I've not seen him say it out loud, but he does talk about having like fidget things to help with what is like some sort of neurodiversity. Like he does need to
Yeah, he obviously
fidget,
needs to keep focused.
and he finds it hard, and he talked on his podcast about having to have like fidget toys, and Roy Keane was really like, I don't get this, but for him it was like, this is really important, this is what keeps me and stops me touching my face and moving about.
Yeah.
and stimming, what I would call stimming, it stops him stimming.
Well, talking about his television stuff there, his big association was with Match of the Day. Wright says that whenever he hears that iconic theme, he'd still feel the pain of his stepfather's cruel torture. Even now, he says it still gets him sometimes. And he recounted his first time he went on the show as a presenter. The then host, Des Lynam, walked up to him and said, "Ian Wright, welcome to Match of the Day." And Wright almost broke into tears. And he said to Des Lynam, "This is my Graceland."
Oh, Paul, you've literally broke me. I'm sitting here in an Erling Haaland shirt, sobbing over Ian Wright.
But it's awful, but it's so, he did it.
Yeah, he did it.
He did it. He overcome all of that.
And he, you know,
And there's things that I didn't know, and I just go, no, that's it. You're the winner.
I
life.
love how him and Roy Keane have a very special bond that I love watching, because I think they both experienced different sides of the same very...
Anti a certain type of
Yeah.
people.
There was a certain racism in football, I can't find another
Yeah,
word
you
for it,
can't, no.
that both affected both of them, and they both witnessed it from different angles. And I think that there's something... I think they've got a beautiful friendship. He's one of my favourite pundits. I think he seems like a really nice man. And if he's listening, because I know he's a big fan of Radio Scotland, just right. We love you.
I'm like, he'd be sitting there going, yeah, I tuned in because when you said you were doing a Scotland show, I thought, I was definitely going to be.
Well, he seems very supportive of Scotland in the paid for adverts he's in.
There you are. But to tonight's song, and it remains to be heard if Wrighty was as good in front of a mic as he was in front of goal, as we travel back to 1993, writing and performing a single that was also co-written and produced with Chris Lowe of the Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, come on now.
It reached the heady heights of 43 in the UK charts.
Still in the charts.
It's time to find out if Ian Wright missed a sitter, or did he do the right thing?
You're out your mind, body's in swing. You have the strength, do the right thing. Woo! Giving up, easy to do. When the world keeps spinning and you can't get through, don't let next time. I've done it once, I'll do it twice. My commitment's high, I'll pay the price for wanting things that can only be found when you're on the line, but you're feeling sound. You're out your mind, body's in swing. You have the strength, do the right thing. You're out your mind, body's in swing. You have the strength, do the right thing. The world's watching, nowhere to turn. You got to think, or you get burned. While they're out there, just having fun. You got to be second to none. But in the end, the truth will be learned. People give nothing, it must be earned. Keep pushing forward and fight that fight. 'Cause things most precious are out of sight. You're out your mind, body's in swing. You have the strength, do the right thing. You're out your mind, body's in swing. You have the strength, do the right thing. Sing with me now. I'm no saint, I'm no sinner. And everybody knows when you get the reputation, it's hard to explode. There's a media watching, and everybody sees. If you've nothing good to say, just keep the peace. Giving up's easy to do when the world keeps spinning and you can't get through. Don't let it grow, you won't change your mind. You may not get that chance next time. I've done it once, I'll do it twice. My commitment's high, I'll pay the price. I'll fight the fight through the darkest night. My precious gold, it's almost inside. You're out your mind, body's in swing. You have the strength, do the right thing. You're out your mind, body's in swing. You have the strength, do the right thing. You're out your mind, body's in swing. You have the strength, do the right thing. You're out your mind, body's in swing. You have the strength, do the right thing. Keep peace. Keep peace. Keep peace.
That was Righty and Do the Right Thing, the 7-inch version. Is that what those 2 wee lines mean?
Yeah.
Okay. I was taught in centimetres. I don't know inches. I'm going to quickly just say that we got an amazing message with a picture of a Great Dane.
What's the message?
It says, first time sending, well, second time, but Ashley and Paul didn't respond. Listening from Massachusetts in the middle of a thunderstorm, but don't worry about us, me and my girl listening, and it's Fiona and Great Dane Roo, and the dog is just this big. It looks like a coo on its back.
It also looks like a Disney dog.
It does look like a Disney dog. Well, hello Fiona, hello Fiona, and hello Roo. Hello Roo. I hope you're having a good day. I always think dogs know I'm talking to them and will get excited when they hear me saying hello to them.
Oh, wait a minute. Before we forget about it, Julie and Andrew also get back to us.
Julie and Andrew did get back to us and said that, yes, they do introduce themselves as Julie and Andrew, like Julie Andrews, which is great. That's all I wanted. I'm so happy. Right, Paul, what is our scoring system for Pitch Perfect?
Kevin Keegan's.
Kevin Keegan's, right. How many Kevin Keegans do you give Ian Wright?
I am going to give Ian Wright. Do you know what? It was very typical of songs that came out in 1992 stroke 1993.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a solid 70.
I love Righty. I love that story. That song sounded like a bad version of the M People. I did not like it. I thought he was bad and it was bad. And as much as I'd like to like it, it was very easy to make a song like that back then.
Yeah, but
And it's still bad.
You can't. It wasn't bad.
I'm going to give it 50 Kevin Keegans because I think it was all right for a footballer guy, but it did just sound like Ian Wrighty on a karaoke. Like, that's what it didn't sound like a good song, Paul. I'm so sorry. Get in touch via text 80295. Let me know what you thought of Ian Wright's performance. Was he pitch perfect or was he off the ball?
Off the boil.
Offside. Oh, offside. Oh, no. Off. What did you say? Off the boil? Yeah. So was he pitch perfect or off the boil? But that isn't a football pun. That's a
You're
cooking.
a football pun.
That's a cooking pun. On the subject of exciting cooking news, you know that Scottish comedian Jamie McDonald, blind comedian, fan of big breaking the news boy. I've done loads of videos with him. One of the videos we did was where he asked me to describe things to him in a way that a blind person can understand, which was, what does Jeremy Corbyn look like? And I just was like, I don't know how. It's so hard to describe what people look like without a frame of reference, but he's going on MasterChef.
Ooh.
I know. How exciting is that? Congratulations, Jamie McDonald. We're all very proud of you. But get in touch with us via text 80295. Let us know what you thought of Wrighty's pitch perfect performance. Was it pitch perfect or do you give it a yellow card? Is that a good? No.
Show it the red card.
Show it the red card. Right, we've got another song for you. It's a Scottish person. It's Paolo Nutini, and he needs some new shoes. So